Psycho, the film by Alfred Hitchcock, came out on this day in 1960. Let's talk about it. Now, if you're a fan of film or you've studied film academically, there's no doubt that Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho will come up. You know, when you say there's films that are iconic, well, this is certainly one of them. 1960, that's 65 years ago. That's absolutely bananas. Now, you all know this guy here, Norman Bates, and he's one of the main characters. Now, a couple of things about this film. So, I'm going to talk about probably one of the most famous scenes, not in just this film, but I think in movie history, full stop. So, you've got the shower scene. Now, you know this scene actually took 7 days to film, apparently. And not only that, there was over 70 camera shots and over 50 edits. Now, Hitchcock clearly wanted to get the scene right, and I think it paid off. Now, another thing about this scene, do you remember the blood going down the drain? Well, I'm going to tell you a secret. It's going to be mind blowing. Can you believe it wasn't real blood? It was actually chocolate syrup. And because it was in black and white, it actually looked fairly realistic. And speaking of the shower scene, Janet Leigh, who's the lady you can see on screen, who was the victim of the infamous shower scene, you know that she was so traumatized by the scene that she stopped taking showers and she only had baths instead. Now, let's talk about Alfred Hitchcock. There was a couple of things that he did with this film. So, what he did, he banned anybody from going to see the film, like any latecomers, basically. So, if you weren't on time to see this film, you weren't getting in the cinema. And also, he didn't actually hold what's called a traditional sort of premiere for the film because he didn't want any spoilers to get out. Imagine if he released this now in the day and age of social media, he would have a madness. But you know what? If you're a fan of the certain, the slasher films, so your Screams, your Halloweens, etc., this is the film that you got to thank for it because this 1980 was the film that I think started that whole craze when it came to slasher films, and it's got to be respected. But Psycho came out on this day in 1960. 1960, madness.